Well, I'm Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the Senior Botanical Garden. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up too. So stay tuned for that and for all the great guests we have. I think you'll like this show. Where we want to start, though, is talking about public safety with a gentleman who, for about 40 years or more, has been protecting us and keeping us safe in one capacity or another, and we're so glad to have him back at the show, the Honorable Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough, Forsyth County. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again, sir, always.
You've been in the news recently. Your department recently had 2 detention officers attacked by an inmate. Part of the hazard of the job, I know. What are you doing and you're already short-staffed with detention officers, so I guess the question is, what are you doing to close the gap in staffing, and how is the recent incident affecting your ability to recruit?
Well, to answer the first question, what we're doing to close the gap is that we're constantly in conversation with the county commissioners and the county manager and the deputy county manager to increase the pay of what detention officers are paid. That right there alone will make a substantial difference. Also, what we're doing right now is we have our deputies currently working inside of the detention center now, so to close the gap.
So you're like, what, 80-some detention officers short?
We are 81.
Yeah. But, I know it's a tough job to be a deputy or a detention officer, but these are good folks that you've got under you.
Without question. They do a job that a lot of people probably wouldn't want to do and probably wouldn't have what I would call the bandwidth to do. It's just not an easy job to work in an environment like that.
Very stressful.
Very stressful.
All right. Now, let's switch to schools for a second, because that's on the top of everybody's mind. Are the schools safe? We see what happened in Uvalde. The officers wait an hour to go in. Everybody's blaming everybody else. You have school massacres. Here in Forsyth County, do we have a school resource officer in every school, first of all? And whether we do or not, are we doing anything to avoid delays if there's an incident?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. We do not have an SRO in every school in the county. Currently, we have SROs in the middle schools and the high schools. Elementary schools, actually, I even don't even like talking about that, because we need to have SROs in all of our schools.
I agree.
We need to start working toward a plan to put security in all of our schools. We need to treat our schools like you do an airport. The most valuable asset that we have is our children. And so I think that we need to have them in all the schools. I've said that from day one.
Are we set up to move pretty quickly if something happens?
Without question. I've been asked that question before, would there be a delay? We don't train like that. You go to the response. We demonstrated that September 1 be an anniversary of the situation we had at the high school, Mount Tabor. And looking back over there was no hesitation.
There wasn't, that's true. Let me talk, I hate to pick on Haynes Mall, because
Sure.
malls in general in big cities have a lot of these problems, but recently you dealt with a bomb threat at Haynes Mall. There's been a lot of shootings inside and outside the mall at Haynes Mall. Is it time to start looking at what we've done in other areas and have a police substation at Haynes Mall? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
The era in which we're living in now, things are happening, constantly evolving. I think that we need to have substations strategically located throughout this city, throughout this county. I think that, of course, we need one. What's interesting about that, when I was processing the question that you asked me, I had a conversation with the CEO of Truline. Truline is currently in there. He and I had breakfast 2 weeks ago, and we're actually talking about putting a station or inside of the mall where he's located in Truline. And not only just that, but just think about where the mall is strategically located. You have Baptist Hospital, which is less than a mile and a half away, and you have
Forsyth
Novant, which is basically 100 yards, 200 yards across the road.
Right.
So you should have that in the event of an emergency. You need to have resources close by.
And speaking of resources, just have a few seconds left.
Sure.
What do you need from the county commissioners? Will money fix a lot of things?
We need money. We need to increase salaries. We need to make them attractive for people to come and work in law enforcement. And as always, funding is always an issue. But in order to be a Fortune 500 company, you need funding. In order to be a first-class law enforcement agency, you need funding.
Right. Up on screen, just to give a plug so you can keep up with what's going on in the Sheriff's Department, www.co.forsyth.us/sheriff. Sheriff, once again, I appreciate all you do for the county.
I appreciate you for inviting me back. I really do. I'm thankful for what you do in this community, putting the message out, keeping people informed, and I appreciate you for that.
All right, Sheriff, thanks for everything.
No, thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and from time to time we like to talk about education and we like to talk about helping students. And our special guest now is somebody who knows about both of those things, education and helping students, and she is doing a lot of that with me right now. Sybil Newman, Director of Titan Link. We're going to find out what that means. From GTCC, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, I've been hearing about Titan Link. What is it? Try to explain it to me.
Titan Link is the entity at the college that addresses non-academic challenges and barriers that students face, i.e., for example, the transportation, childcare, housing insecurity, food insecurity, and those things that impede their ability to stay enrolled and stay connected to learning. One of the things we realized early on was that life happens for a lot of our students, and despite their efforts to do their best in the classroom, oftentimes the struggles come because they have other things going on.
So they could have a small child at home. They could have issues with making ends meet and not having enough food that they should for nutrition. All those things go into trying to succeed in education. So you're helping in those ways, right?
That's right. And I think it's really important because a lot of things occurred. COVID created an environment that was very different for many of us.
Right.
And the adult learner was no different. There were parents. Most of our students are on financial aid, or they're leading households where there was a requirement that was put on them that financially strained them. And so Titan Link is in place at the college to be able to help mitigate that type of hardship and those hardships for our students and their families.
Are most of the students have one of these? I know this is kind of a personal thing to answer, and maybe there's no answer to it, but do most students have sort of an issue that they're trying to deal with that impedes them, do you think, or is it just a certain population of student, or what?
I think people have issues in and of itself. I think life happens, and I think most of our students are indicative of what's going on in our county and in the state, and they're just around the country. And so, yes, they have issues, and we have sometimes the measures in place to be able to help mitigate our hardships, but a lot of our students don't. Life comes at them fast, and they have to make a decision about whether they're going to eat, whether they're going to put gas in the car, whether they're going to be able to have hot spots so that they can do work or their children do work. So there are a lot of other factors that come into play.
Now, I heard through the grapevine that Titan Link, you and Titan Link have been doing some pretty remarkable things since the pandemic. And tell us about that.
You know, I was really excited. COVID created and revealed to us some of the pitfalls that were in existence. We just didn't pay attention to them. They didn't rear their head. And so what we found is that many of our students, when we had to go to a strictly online environment due to COVID, it created we had to respond in a way that was intentional so that we did not lose our students. And so when the college they came and asked, they said, what is it you think you need? And I said, I need devices. I need to have have our students have access to digital technology, really, to be able to continue on. And so thus began my request for devices. And initially we started with Chromebooks, and then we realized that the Chromebooks only satisfied a small portion of our learners, that we needed laptops for our engineering, our information systems, and some of our business classes.
Right.
And so the college, what I was really excited about was that they responded very intentionally to addressing that need. And so we were able to secure an overwhelming number of devices.
Now, is there a Titan Link office on campus or campuses at GTC? So if I have a problem, I can go to it, or what?
Yes, we have 3 actual physical locations. We're housed on the Jamestown campus, which is our main campus, and then 2 of our satellite campuses, which is the Greensboro campus and the High Point campus. And we mobily serve our other campuses. So any student who's enrolled and attending, if they're at one of the community programs, we're able to serve them as well.
Now, a lot of people, I think the misnomer is about community colleges. Say, oh, that's all provided by the state and whatever. But very quickly, you can accept donations, right?
We accept donations happily, and they can be directed through our foundation. And we try to make sure that we're good stewards over the allocations as they've been outlined by the donor. And so that's really important to us because one of the things is that we try to connect the donor to students and what the donor wants it to look like. If it's a single parent or if it's a person from a specific county, we try to connect. And so, yes, donations and contributions can be made.
Up on screen, I don't want to forget to say this, gtcc.edu/TitanLink. Please check that out, folks. gtcc.edu/TitanLink. I sure am glad you're around and helping folks.
I'm glad to be around and helping.
Will you come back sometime?
I will anytime.
All right, thanks, Sybil. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and I want to talk about something I absolutely know nothing about, and that's good. I'll learn as we go here. We're going to talk about the importance of breastfeeding and some other topics with a very special guest, first-time visitor to Triad Today, Jana Soptal. She's a lactation consultant for Novant Health. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning.
By way of Georgia, you're a Georgia girl originally.
Yes.
Okay, we're glad you're up here. Now, I guess the obvious question is, why is breastfeeding important for a baby's health?
Breastfeeding actually provides so many healthy nutrients to the newborn. It has great benefits for mom and baby. It helps reduce the risks for infection for the newborn, reduces the risks for cancers, leukemia, diarrhea, ear infections, a lot of newborn illnesses. And for mom, it also has, been proven that it helps reduce her risks for heart disease, for rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, cancers for mom as well.
Are you kidding? I did not know that.
Very, very, very healthy for mom and baby.
Well, that's just fantastic. But let me do this on the flip side and sort of play devil's advocate. With all the positives involved, there are some challenges.
Definitely some challenges as mom and baby are learning together how to breastfeed, and that's where we come in as board-certified lactation consultants. We can help moms and babies learn to kind of how they're going to work together with this whole feeding thing, as now baby's dependent on mom teaching baby, and she might be learning this, for her first time.
So first-time mom coming home from the hospital can lean on you guys, right?
Absolutely. 24 hours a day. We have lots of opportunities for mom to get some help from us.
You're not just giving them a pamphlet. I mean, you're there for them, right?
We're there for them, absolutely. They can do breastfeeding classes before birth. They can do breastfeeding support classes. We have the baby cafe, the virtual breastfeeding cafe. We also have an in-person baby cafe where mom can get support from each other, from other moms, and from a board-certified lactation consultant.
Going back to this thing about challenges and helping and resources, again, I don't have experience with this, but I heard and I read something about it that moms often, when these challenges come, it's like 2 a.m.
Yes.
So I guess my question to you is, are you and your team there for them at 2 a.m?
We absolutely are. So moms often feel alone in the middle of the night when they're trying to do these feedings, as babies feed around the clock. And Novant has now started an on-demand lactation service from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 7 days a week. There is a lactation consultant on call. Mom can do a consult from the privacy of her own home, and she can get the help she needs for just about anything: breast engorgement, pain, difficulty with latching, babies that aren't waking up well to feed. Any concern that she has, we're there for her.
Yeah, and I think the myth out there, probably among us stupid men, is that, hey, this is a natural thing. Why should there be a problem? But, it's good to have some resources there, too.
Yes. Breastfeeding is very natural, but it doesn't always come as natural. So it's important to know that there's help available 24/7, 7 days a week. Through Novant, we're happy to help moms with breastfeeding.
Let me put you on the spot. We didn't rehearse this, but I see such a glow in your eye about what you're doing. What's gratifying about what you do?
So I really enjoy the education part of helping moms with breastfeeding. I feel like there's a lot that we can help them know. Moms can go to TikTok, they can go to Google, they can get all kinds of information. But as experts, there's so much information that we want to share with them to help make them successful.
In just a few seconds left. Tell me, we talked about you growing up in Georgia. Who or what influenced you to go into healthcare?
I would say, honestly, I went into nursing, but I also wanted to do lactation consultant work. My sisters, I have 3 older sisters that cared for their babies and did breastfeeding, and I learned from them and also saw what they got from their community.
Right.
And that's really what led me to this.
That's just great. Well, I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Up on
you.
the screen, let me make sure I get this up here. NovantHealth.org is the general website. It takes you to all sorts of great places to learn about the services and programs available from Novant Health, and I hope you'll do that. And Jana, keep up the good work. Will you come back sometime?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, let's talk about reading, and let's talk about bookmarks. And we have a lady who's going to do all about that. She is Jamie Rogers Southern, Executive Director of Bookmarks. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
For those who are new to the area, maybe just moved in, and say, I heard about Bookmarks. I mean, what is it? So tell them.
Yeah, so we are a lot of things. We are a literary arts nonprofit, first and foremost, but we also have an independent bookstore downtown Winston, and we have a festival coming up the end of September.
Why is the festival so important?
It's important to gather together, I think, first of all. We've learned that over the last couple of years, but especially in celebration of reading and of stories, which really, I think, bring people to come together and connect us all.
What do you think, and I know you're biased about this, but if you take your hat off as executive director there for a second, why do you think that Bookmarks has such an impact on and is so important to the overall health of the culture and arts community in the area?
Well, I think this area has so much to offer as far as arts and culture, but there is a lacking of celebration of the literary arts. So we've tried to fill that void in celebrating voices, books of all different genres for all ages, and just to bring people together to enjoy reading.
I think you alluded to a minute or so ago that you do a lot of things. Other than the festival, we're going to plug that in just a second. Other than that, what kind of things are you up to?
We do a lot of outreach in the community. We work with a lot of other nonprofits and community groups to help increase access to books. That's very important to us. And especially working with the schools. We work with all of the Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools and actually in the counties surrounding Forsyth County.
Right, I think that is important. Now, tell me about some of the highlights for this year's festival. Throw out a couple names of people coming. What can we look for?
Well, we're really excited to offer the 17th festival this year, Saturday, September 24th, and everything on that Saturday is free. So events for kids and families to enjoy, nonfiction, fiction. We're really excited to have some big names like Idina Menzel, a Broadway star, to Sandra Cisneros, who's a fabulous, well-honored author too.
Right. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I understand you're also going to have a fundraising event on September 1st. That's at Roar?
It's at Roar, yes. We're really excited. The festival's free, as I mentioned, to the public, and we want to help keep it that way. So we do a bit of fundraising to help present this and lots of free books.
Anybody can come to the fundraiser to make
That's
a donation, have dinner, or whatever.
Absolutely.
Now, let me up on screen. Let me just mention again: fundraisers Thursday, September 1st, 7 p.m. at Roar. Bookmarks Festival itself, Saturday, September 24th in downtown Winston-Salem. And I ask that you go to this website for more information: bookmarksnc.org. Bookmarksnc.org. And then also a shout out to the good folks at Visit Winston-Salem who direct our tourism activities throughout the area and do so much and have really done a great job getting us through the pandemic and keeping events coming in and out of the city. Special thanks to Rich and Marquita at Visit Winston-Salem. That's visitwinstonsalem.com. Jamie, it looks like it's going to be a great festival.
Thank you. I hope so.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to our good friends here at the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. Please visit the garden, visit their website. You can have your events here. You can do just about anything here, including the roundtable, and here they are. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Our guest panelist today is the lovely and talented Rosemary Plyman. I had usually identified her as an executive with Say Yes Guilford. That organization has changed now to Shifted. It's correct?
Shift Ed, yes.
Shift Ed, Shift Ed, okay. And Keith Granberry, fresh from his car accident. We're glad he's okay, and he's founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. Last week we talked about how one North Carolina county is stocking every school with an AR-15 assault rifle. Meanwhile, there's still some politicians who believe that we should arm teachers in order to prevent mass shootings. Guys, are you okay with asking teachers to carry a gun in school? Ogie?
The bad ideas just keep piling on top of each other. That's just the worst idea ever. The teachers hate it. They're not equipped to do that. They didn't go to college to learn how to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Rosemary.
I mean, they have way too much on their plate as it is. We're going to add guns to them to trying to learn to use them and to keep up with them and keep them safe from the children who are there.
Right. And of course, Keith, some teachers say, well, yeah, I know how to use a gun. What do you think?
First of all, the students may take the gun from them. Second of all, they're not trained. And third of all, why don't you get trained professionals at these schools? I've been saying it since we can continue to talk about it. You need trained professionals to stop people.
All right. Last week there was a bomb scare at Haynes Mall, and recently there have been a number of shootings there at the mall, both outside and inside the mall. Guys and gals, is it time for the city to start thinking about a police substation, and some cities do this, a substation at the mall? Ogie?
I don't think so. We've tried to come up with different solutions. We batted this thing around. Maybe, speaking of trained professionals, I mean, you need uniformed people there. How about some trained undercover guys patrolling around?
What do you think about a substation or some other solution for a mall?
I think Ogie has a good idea with that for sure, but it does make me think, pause before going to the mall.
Really? And you're a mom and
Yeah.
a wife and have a family, and so now that's pretty telling, guys, that Rosemary just made that statement. People are worried about going to the mall. What do you think?
I think you need a substation. I mean, in Atlanta, Lenox Mall, which is one of the most prestigious malls in America, now is under siege. And they need police presence there to let people know that that's not tolerable. You need a substation.
All right, speaking of police, both Greensboro and Winston are in the market for a new police chief. Both of the departing chiefs came from within the department and both did a fine job. We had them on the show, both chiefs. Do you think Greensboro and Winston should make every effort possible to hire their new chief from within the ranks as they did before, or does it matter, Ogie?
I do. I think you should give them first crack at it, but I also think it doesn't hurt to put out a national search as well.
All right, Rosemary.
I think you have to put out a national search, but there are lots of advantages from hiring from within. Just knowing this community and being accepted in the community, that's a hard thing.
Yeah, Keith, what do you think?
I think it needs, of course, a national search, but I would like to see someone from the community that has been on the police force, who understands it and loves the community, to be head of that department.
Yeah, I agree. A Wake County grand jury believed that North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein broke the law for airing a 2020 TV ad that included false information about his opponent in handling rape kits. But yesterday, an appeals court overrode the grand jury, let Stein off the hook so he could have time to, get this, see if he could change that law. Guys, should politicians, and it's a free speech issue, according to the judging panel, should politicians be punished for airing campaign ads that are false and defamatory? Ogie?
Jim, if you did that, you would have no candidates. How many ads have you seen that have blatantly misrepresented?
And nobody enforces the law, though.
Well, I agree, but still, everybody does it.
Should we enforce the law finally and start punishing people for that?
I mean, journalists are held liable for libel, and so I think politicians should be as well.
Yeah, what do you think, Keith?
I think you said something very specific. You said the grand jury found that he broke the law.
That's right.
And if any other regular citizen would have broke the law,
That'd have been it.
they would have been indicted.
Right. All right, today, most college students can't afford the cost of campus housing, which can be as high as $5,000 per semester here in North Carolina, here in this area. In 2016, the General Assembly passed a fixed tuition law, is what it's called, but they never addressed the housing cost. Should we cap those and do something about the housing cost? Ogie?
That's interesting because we always focus on tuition, trying to keep it down. Maybe it's time to start looking at housing costs, yeah.
Rosemary, a mom, what do you think?
You got to look at the overall cost, right? It's not just tuition. And when they cap tuition, then colleges and universities needed to find other places to make up that money in some places. So you have to look at it, and it might not be capping, but it might be support as well for students.
Right, because you and Wendy and the organization really involved in trying to get kids in college and find scholarships and that kind of thing, but it kind of makes it a tough road to hoe when you got the housing costs. What do you think? Should we cap housing costs?
I think you need to look at the financial piece of each student, and then if they're at a certain level, then cap it at those levels. But people who can pay, but cap it at for financial people who can't pay that amount.
All right, finally, Coca-Cola has a new flavor called Dream World, which supposedly tastes like dreams, whatever that means. Meanwhile, a new study says you should write down your dreams as soon as you awake. Guys and gals, do you plan to drink Dream World Coke, and have you ever written down your dreams, Ogie?
I'm a Pepsi guy. I tried that for a while when I fancied myself a songwriter, and I'd get up and jot lyrics, and I wrote one song and then didn't do it anymore.
You write your dreams down?
Are we going to hear the song? I want to hear the song.
It's recorded.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I want to hear that.
No,
Well,
I don't think we want to hear it. What do you think,
I've
Rosemary?
never written down my dreams, and if I had time to do that, I might do that, but I just want to go back to sleep.
Keith, you going to drink Coca-Cola Dreamland and write down your dreams?
Well, my dreams are so big, and I accomplish everything that I dream about. But as far as the Coca-Cola, every time you drink it, you either get diabetes.
I don't think you can say that. Anyway.
So I hope it's a healthy Coke.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got to have healthy Coke around here. And
All
I
right.
drink it all day, which is my favorite drink, by the
I
way.
often dream about Rosemary. I dream about Rosemary. And then sometimes I dream about Keith.
Don't dream about me.
I don't know what all right, well, anyway, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Last week, a monkey at a California zoo, got a hold of a smartphone and dialed 911 to get the police out at the zoo. Asked how the monkey got a hold of the phone. The police officer said, I don't know. I guess he ordered it from Amazon Prime, mate. Did you get that?
Pretty clever, Jim.
I thought it was pretty good. All right, we're all going to start dreaming right after this. We'll see you next